Magandang tanghali sa inyong lahat. I'm Kim Atienza, a family man, a TV host, a triathlete, and a born-again Christian. God gave me an interesting life story, and it's His will for me to tell it to as many people as I can. I grew up like most of us religious people, having Jesus as best friend. I talked with Jesus, my best friend, all the time. I spent years of high school life in a seminary in Pampanga, wanting to be a priest, to please my best friend, Jesus Christ. A best friend is someone you could run to. He's also someone you could disobey, snub when you're not in the mood. Friends always understand. How did I start my 15-year TV career as your Kuya Kim? Even lolos and lolas call me Kuya. Sometimes my dad calls me Kuya. I always grew up wanting to be on television. I took up film and audiovisual communications in UP, not to be a director, not to be a filmmaker. I wanted to be a TV star. I'm not ugly. I'm not that handsome either. Si Kuya Kim, tamang-tama lang. To be on TV in the 80s, you had to be Richard Gomez or Aga Mulak. Bitin. So the TV career that I aspired for was elusive. I couldn't get a break to do what I was so passionate about. All throughout this, I asked my best friend Jesus to help me. After college, I put my desire to be on TV on a back seat and embarked on a political career. I come from a line of Manila politicians, and my dad was mayor. I ran for city councilor of Manila. I was the top councilor for 9 years. Throughout my years in politics, I'd always pray to Jesus Christ, my best friend. I would lie, I would cheat, I would steal, and still talk to my best friend. Unrepentant, unabashed, unashamed. Jesus was my friend. He will understand. Best friends always do. The time came when my dad, the 3-term mayor, needed a replacement, and I was next in line of dynastic succession. I needed to get TV exposure to give me a political edge. Being in power, I talked to my connections for a segment in the show, Magandang Umaga Bayan. I need not get paid. I can even call Manila businesses to support the segment, so I can just be on TV. I got my first major TV break in a segment called Animalandia, where I handled scary crocodiles and big animals scared of the Manila Zoo, which we controlled. I became the local crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin, thus the perpetual safari hat, which I don't wear today. I enjoyed the morning show deeply. TV was my passion. I always prayed for this to my best friend Jesus, and I was living my passion. After 6 months in the show, my boss Maria Reza summoned me. I like you, Kim, but I know what you're doing. You are using news and current affairs as a platform for your politics because you're running for mayor. But I like you, she said. Here's a contract. Sign this and work for me, but you have to make a choice. TV or politics. If you decide to get into politics, then quit TV as soon as possible. You're not allowed. I was honored. I was flustered. I told Maria, thank you, ma'am, but give me time to think. Salamat po, but give me time to think. I prayed to my best friend, Jesus, I have to make a choice between my true passion and helping my family with our politics. You're God, di ba? Show me a sign. I challenged my best friend, Jesus Christ. A few weeks passed. I was assigned to cover the House of Knowledge icon and resident weatherman, Ka Ernie Baron. As I did my spiels that morning, he purposely put his arm on my shoulder and said, ang buhay may hangganan. Si Ka Ernie Baron, pwede na akong mamatay. I can die now because I now have a replacement. You will replace me. He anointed me on national TV. I was dumbstruck. I was in shock. I talked to my best friend. Again, I said, Jesus Christ, that was a sign, but you're God. Show me a clearer, stronger sign. I challenged my best friend, Jesus Christ, again. A week passed after that fateful day, and my birthday was coming up. I got a call from my producer. He said, Kim, we can't celebrate your birthday on TV tomorrow. I may have to assign you to Ka Ernie Baron. I asked why. He suffered a heart attack and died today, and someone has to cover the wake. I was in shock again. I prayed, Jesus, best friend, I get the point. I accept your will. It was very clear that day that Jesus Christ wanted me to be on television. That was the beginning of my career on TV, being your Kuya Kim, given the clear signs by my best friend, Jesus Christ. I was so in love with my TV work. I loved it. It was my passion. I was now ABS-CBN's resident weatherman and walking encyclopedia. I had 4 shows on TV. 3 of the shows were daily shows. I had a super hectic schedule and I hardly slept. I was finally a TV star. I enjoyed it thoroughly until that fateful day in August of 2010 when I suffered a stroke. I was brushing my teeth early morning, and like a switch, my mind totally got erased. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't even know my name. All I know in my head was there was something terribly wrong. I was rushed to the emergency room. Through all this, I was terrified, even if my wife Alicia was by my side all the time. And I prayed to my best friend, Jesus Christ. I said, Jesus, don't get me yet. If I die, I'll go straight to hell. I've been so bad. But if you make me well, I'll be an athlete. I'll be healthy. I'll be the healthiest Kim I can be. Just don't let me die. Jesus heard my prayer. I survived the stroke. I struggled with cognition, speech, and language for a few months, but I fulfilled my promise to become fit. I became so fit that a year after my stroke, I ran my first full marathon, 42 kilometers, in Bordeaux, France. I was so good. I complemented my running with cycling and swimming. I became a triathlete. I ran fast, cycled fast, swam long open water distances confidently. I was so fit that 3 years after my stroke, I signed up for my first full Ironman race. A full Ironman is a 4-kilometer swim, followed by a 180-kilometer bike, followed by a 42-kilometer run, which I intended to finish in about 12 hours because I was so fit. The motto of Ironman is, I can. I can swim, I can bike, and I can run. I had this motto on my bathroom mirror, my phone, my shirt, and everywhere. It was my mantra. I said this to myself every time. I was training like a madman. One day, after a 6-hour biking session of 180 kilometers, I realized that I couldn't move my hands. My fingers were paralyzed. Being a stroke survivor, I went to my doctor as soon as possible. She assured me it was nothing. I went on with a 30-kilometer run program the next day, only to find out that I couldn't wiggle my toes. My feet were also paralyzed. I went back to my doctor and was given a 2-hour painful nerve test and a spinal tap, and my doc then said, Kim, we have to put you in ICU right now because you have a rare autoimmune disease called Guillain-Barré syndrome that causes total paralysis. It hits 1 out of 100,000 people randomly, and the cause is not known. By this afternoon, your diaphragm might get paralyzed, and we'd have to put a hole in your trachea so you can breathe. I was in shock. I was numb. I was confused. Yesterday, I was Iron Man. Now, I'm waiting to be intubated in ICU. That morning in ICU, I cried painfully to my best friend, Jesus. What are you trying to tell me? You gave me a stroke, and then I got well. Now I'm at the fittest point in my life. You make me paralyzed. What's your message? What are you trying to tell me? I was emotional, and I was in tears. In comes an old friend, Karen Davila, to visit. She shared, when Paul prayed to God to remove the thorn in his flesh that was constantly giving him pain, God's message to him was, my grace is all you need. My strength is made perfect in your weakness. It was that morning of August 2013 that I realized the motto of Iron Man, I can, cannot apply. How can I do anything in my power when I cannot even move my fingers or wiggle my toes? It was at that moment that it dawned on me, Iron Man's motto can never apply because I was totally powerless and His grace is all I needed. His grace is enough. All else is bonus. I recognize His power and my weakness, His fullness and my emptiness, my self-centeredness and His abundant grace. I finally got it. Not I can, but He can. All my life, Jesus was my best friend. That morning, I realized that I needed Jesus not only as best friend, but also as Lord and Savior, as provider of everything that I needed. I then called one of my friends, Rica Paralejo, who I worked with in the morning show, and told her, tell Joseph, your pastor husband, to come. This morning, I want to know more about Jesus as Lord and Savior. They're both there in 10 minutes and we prayed. I finally accepted Jesus Christ as Lord, the provider of everything I needed in life. I was totally dependent on Him. My best friend and Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, healed me totally. The paralysis was reversed in a few weeks. In a few months, I was able to swim, bike, and run even faster than I ever used to. My marathon times have improved dramatically. I finished 8 international races, New York and Boston among them, a full Ironman in Taiwan, 8 half Ironman races, I'm doing one next month, with excellent times, not because I can, but now, under Jesus' grace and guidance. I became a more loving and giving husband to my wife, Alicia, and a better father to my 3 kids, Jose, Eliana, and Eman. I also got totally rid of my addiction to pornography. But that's another story which I shall tell you some other time. I'm living a full and balanced life, knowing where all the power comes from. Not I can, but He can. Let me end this with a Bible verse that has become my life verse as well. Philippians 4:13. I can only do this through Him who gives me strength. Not I can, but He can. Maraming salamat po.